When Mojang originally announced they would be switching their update system from one big game update a year to multiple smaller game drops per year, I was definitely skeptical about whether or not this would be a good decision for the game's health. But with the recent snapshots from Minecraft's spring game drop, I gotta say, I think this system could end up working really well for Minecraft. For those of you who aren't already aware, the snapshots currently being released every few weeks is the content planned to launch with this game's spring drop. The first snapshot we were given for this drop revealed new pig variants, one for the cold biomes as well as one for the warm, and alongside the pig variants we were given leaf litter and wildflowers, which could be found scattered throughout many of the overworld's various biomes. The following snapshot contains new cow variants, yet again one for the cold biome and one for the warm, as well as a bush plant which similarly to the new leaf litter and wildflower could be found scattered throughout the overworld. And then we were also finally given fireflies, except this time instead of being added as a mob, they came as an ambient effect created by the firefly bush, which if you ask me was a pretty solid way to introduce them so people could integrate them easily into their builds. These firefly bushes can be found alongside rivers and in swamps. I also can't forget to mention that this snapshot finally brought subtle ambient sounds to the desert and mesa biomes, which is a huge improvement to the overall experience of exploring these biomes. Ambient sounds have been requested for so long, and seeing them finally integrated into an overworld biome is super exciting. Sure, we got them in the Pale Garden, but I mean retouching the old biomes. There are so many biomes that could use these sounds, so seeing it finally introduced is really cool. And that brings us to our latest snapshot, at least at the time of recording this video. And if you couldn't tell by now, there's a reoccurring theme of ambience and minor improvements to the overworld. So with this snapshot, we received two new chicken variants, as well as dry grass in the desert and mesa, and cactus flowers which will occasionally spawn on top of cacti. So far, all these features, while very minor and not actually changing the way you play the game, do a great job at bringing new life to these old, otherwise kinda empty biomes. They really make them feel modern. The ambient sounds in the warm biomes to me are by far the biggest addition, and really just make exploring feel more complete. One of the original appeals of Minecraft was how empty and isolated you felt in an untouched world, but with the game's current state, the world is bustling and full of life. Ambient sounds are really fitting for modern day Minecraft, and I hope we see more. As of making this video, it is currently early February, and with this being planned for a spring release in late March or early April, we still have time for 2 or 3 more snapshots with content inside. I can't wait to see them build upon what they've already been adding, hopefully making more improvements to the colder biomes, adding ambient snow sounds, as well as some plans to sprucing up those biomes. As to which mobs may get more variants, I can't really say. I thought it would be sheep, but as of making this video, literally like 5 minutes ago, they announced that sheep would be differentiated in biomes by their wool color rather than adding new actual variants. To me, this kind of made the most sense for sheep. This is what I originally thought was gonna happen. So as for other mobs, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm hoping they add ambient sounds to more than just the cold and warm biomes, adding beach ambience, mountain ambience, forest sounds, river sounds, etc. So far though, this update's content really serves well as a smaller size game drop. Now, while the actual content of the drop is by far the most enticing part about game drops, there are a few other factors that have recently been discovered that have made me grow a little fonder of this system. One being the infamous leaked 3-year roadmap for Minecraft. While this roadmap should be taken with a grain of salt, this roadmap seems very likely to be real, and while it does have a bunch of different topics of interest on it, I want to just focus on the quantity of game drops planned on this roadmap. If this roadmap is to be real, it means we will receive 4 game drops per year, 1 in each sector of the year. So 1 in the fall, 1 in the winter, 1 in the spring, and 1 in the summer. And so far, this seems to be pretty accurate, as we receive bundles of bravery in the fall, the garden awakens in the winter, and we're on track to receive these new overworld improvements sometime in the spring. The size of each game drop is still hard to predict, but from what we received so far, I think it's safe to say we could get 3 medium content drops a year and then 1 smaller one like bravery and bundles. A factor that backs this up is the recent interview held with a Minecraft developer about the future of the game and its current game drop system. The whole interview is actually in a different language, but after multiple videos translating it, many interesting topics were brought up. One of which was the fact the developer mentioned he never actually did any work on the Tricky Trials update, and that they have different teams focused around doing different game drops for the year. This means that even though we currently have the spring drop being released throughout snapshots, there are actually developers currently working on game drops for the summer and possibly even the fall. Now, the real reason this excites me is this also leaves the door open for a team to work on a more long-term project for a full version update like an end update. To me, this is huge news, as one of the biggest concerns with this system is that it removed the possibility for large-scale updates like we were used to. With this interview though, we can now infer that maybe while we won't get a major update every year, it's still not off the table and could instead be released every 1.5 to 2.5 years. So with the hopes that we still receive major version updates every few years, I am way more optimistic about the game drop system. Not to mention the game drop system has continued to keep me interested in the game over the course of the year, as we are receiving new content on a consistent basis. Even if it's not a lot, it has kept interest a bit higher than normal. However, I will say I think the interest levels will definitely be dependent on the content of each drop, as I am far more interested in the content of the spring drop than I was for the Garden Awakens drop. This can also be seen as a good thing though, as with one update per year, if that update didn't interest you, you would have to wait a whole nother year until the next update released. Overall, while I was super skeptical about the game drop system at first, I have found myself growing more and more fond of it with each drop and with this newfound info. The combined factors of being able to believe we are likely to receive 4 drops a year, as well as still holding out the option for a major update being in the works, even if it's not in the near future, it has removed most of the worries I actually had with the system. The spring drop is definitely making the game's future look bright, and at the end of the day, this is all just my opinion. I gotta ask, what do you guys think of the spring drop so far? Do you think it's a good sign or a bad sign for the future of Minecraft's game drops? I would love to continue this conversation, so leave any thoughts you have down in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, a like is greatly appreciated and goes a long way towards helping the channel out, as well as subscribing so you never miss out on another video just like this one. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.